Welcome to the Voices That Inspire, a podcast designed to spark creativity and offer valuable insight into the worlds of writing, public speaking, leadership, and life itself. I am Elijah Steven, your host, an experienced writer, public speaker, and leadership expert. This podcast is your go to space for insightful discussions on writing, public speaking, leadership, and the ever evolving journey of life. Whether you're a budding creative, an emerging leader, or simply someone seeking insight, you're in the right place. From reflective solo episodes to inspiring guest conversations, Voices That Inspire offers thought provoking discussions and actionable insight for personal and professional growth. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Let's begin. Hi, everyone. My name is Elijah Steven. I'm your host for the Voices That Inspire podcast. And today we're going to be considering the very first episode. This marks the beginning of a new chapter for me. This marks the beginning of a new chapter for this particular podcast. And I hope that you would come to learn even as we progress in the course of the discussions and several other things that we're going to be talking about. I hope that you would come to learn and then be inspired by many of the lessons that come from this particular podcast. As it has been said before now, if you are interested in public speaking, writing, leadership, and maybe just about life in general, this is the place that you can trust. This is your go to space. This is a place that you can always come to, and you can then be sure that you will get nothing but the very best. So today we're going to be considering for this very first episode the story of how I became a writer, everything you need to know. And because of this discussion, I'm going to be considering some other things as well. You're going to be, in fact, I'm going to discuss about the importance of writing, how that writing is very important, and now that you need to begin writing and why you need to begin writing. I hope that at the end of the episode, I would be able to inspire you, to encourage you to commence writing. So let's get started. You know, I'd always wanted to write, really. I'd always wanted to put things together, but I never really did see myself as a writer. I never really thought that I could pen anything down or put anything down. I think I remember back when I was in school, yeah, junior secondary school to be precise. I wouldn't remember correctly, but I think why I was in junior secondary school three, preparing for the junior YH, yeah, junior YH here, as it is popularly called within the Nigerian context of education, the junior YH. I, I, I wrote a book, series of stories that I wanted to publish, and then at the time I spoke with a friend who started something. I think he named it Star Press Limited. If if I'm able to recall correctly, so I wrote that and I gave it to him because I wanted him to share. I wanted him to see what I had done. I wanted him to kind of like publish. Like he promised that he was going to do that, but that didn't see the light of the day because in the end I didn't get to publish anything, and that was way back. So I'd even forgotten that I did anything um, very of great importance like that. I remember also in school when I got into my senior secondary school one, two, I I was a science student back in school. I was in the science department and I yeah, learned all about chemistry, physics, and biology and mathematics and further mathematics. But deep down, I wanted something different. If I even now, when I think about it, I wish that I had gone to in fact, to the health department instead, because it seemed to me that I could have achieved better with that. Maybe not achieved better. Maybe achieved better is not the way to put it, but it seemed to me that I could have thrived better in that environment. Even now that I've come to discover that yes, I am a writer, that I'm a writer, and that I have this desire, this burning desire to want to put things down, to want to put my thoughts down, and to want to ensure that people get to read and are inspired by the things that I say using my writing ability. So it was when I got to school, Federal University of Technology, Accra. When I got to school, I in my first year I was just there. I was really interested about the things that were going on, but I never really did see myself as a writer. So I remember one particular period. I returned home from school. I think that was the not the first semester break this time around, but the first session break, and that's the long-term break that I give to you guys. After a particular session. That is after the first semester and then after the second semester. So but I remember returning to school. I mean, returning home rather. I remember returning home and then I was just on the bed. I've shared this with some of my friends. I told people about it. People who have asked me, "How did you begin writing? How did you become a writer? What was that moment for you? What was that period for you? How did you start writing? How did you come to a point where you realized, oh, fine, I think I have the ability to write. I think I have in fact, the desire to write. I think I want to write. So it was at that moment I just returned home. And then one particular evening, I was just lying on my bed, on the bed at home, and an idea just came to mind. I had series of thoughts going through my mind, and I just wanted to express them. Basically, that is what writing does for you. Writing helps you to express your ideas. Writing helps you to communicate your ideas. Writing helps you to make sense in a way of what you were thinking. Writing helps you to think. Writing helps you to put your thoughts together. And that was what it did for me. So I think I had thoughts as it will with respect to hell, with respect to heaven, and all of those things. And I started by writing them in poetic form, like poems. So I would write. I was just as it was coming, as those ideas were coming to me directly. I was just penning them on paper, and I was putting them down. And after I think I wrote the first, then I wrote the second, and then I wrote the third, and then it just dawned on me, wow, you actually can write. Remember, I said before now that I've written something way back, even before this time, but I could hardly remember that I did something. So it was at that moment that it dawned on me that I really had this gift. I really had this ability. I really could write, and it was interesting. There was a feeling that I got from it. Yet that there was a feeling I got from writing that was that of great satisfaction. It was exciting to me. I was amazed as though I just discovered a huge treasure. You get the idea, right? So it was that serious. And I saw that it was interesting. I saw that it was really amazing. And so I continued to write. I continued to write. But I wrote some other topics, even that particular night. And every day but I just was writing. I was writing. I would think about ideas. The ideas just kept coming. I kept putting them down on paper, and that was the discovery phase for me. Your story may be a bit different, and it may be that you've been asking yourself the question, right? Am I really a writer? Can I write? Yes, you can. In fact, I would argue that everyone is a writer. So you may not be a writer professionally, or in the technical sense, but then you actually a writer. Yeah, for example, the secretary who puts down the things that maybe occur in the office place, the the attendant who writes the receipt for the customers when they come to purchase things. You're a writer in that sense. And it is important that you strive to be able to write in a way that is accurate, in a way that is, in fact, that is beneficial not just to you but to the people who read. And then we'll talk about the technical terms much later, even as we continue the course of this podcast. That may come in subsequent episodes, but today I just want to focus on writing, and I just give you that background story of how Elijah Stephen became right. So this was that discovery phase for me. So I'd like to know, what was the discovery phase for you? What was that discovery moment for you? When did you come to know that you could write? And how did it feel? But how did you feel about that discovery? How did you feel knowing that you could actually put your thoughts together and it could make sense? I remember then I kept writing, and then I spoke with a brother in church who I just discovered I could write, and I came up with some of those things and read it, and it was like, wow. So I thought of doing a lot of things. I thought of just one important thing was just for me to continue writing. So each day it was that consistent for me. I just kept on writing because I believe again that one of the ways really to improve your writing ability is that you continue writing. I believe that, and I teach that, and I encourage people to do so. And the only way for you to know is to write. The only way for you to know that you're actually a writer is to write. Remember, I said everyone is a writer, maybe not in a professional way, as you would have content writers and ghost writers and authors and all of those things, but then everyone writes actually, and everyone writes. But again, I'm just talking about the fact that you may have a passion. Maybe you want to author a book, you want to write several content you want to share with people. Yeah, you can, but the only way to and now or to make that discovery is to begin writing. You have to begin somehow, somewhere. You have to begin, and I think I would say that if those ideas kept coming right and I didn't do anything to put them down, it may have been possible that I wouldn't have made that discovery. But I made that discovery chiefly because I decided to put those thoughts on paper. I decided to write. I decided to take that extra step of not just letting those things stay inside of me, but having to express myself, having to give expression to those things that were coming to my mind through writing. So that was the story for me. Just kept on writing since then. And I would say really that it's been growth. And I must confess, there's been growth. It wasn't that way initially. But when I said I started writing that way, I wasn't perfect. It was very rude. I'm sorry, crude is the word. It was very crude. Um, it was just flowing, you get. So it was just flowing because my mind was on it, and each time I had an idea about a thing, the next thing to do was to put it down. So that's just it for me, and that's just the same way I believe that many other persons came to understand what writing is. So if you're wondering, yeah, and I've mentioned this before, perhaps you're asking yourself, am I a writer? I would argue that yes, you are. You've probably not been able to discover, and there is no way you can discover except to write. So at the moment, I can write poems. I can, yeah. But basically, I think my strength is towards the nonfiction area. But I think again, I can make attempts on several other aspects of writing, and I would say like I mentioned before, now there's been improvement a whole lot really because I've come to understand certain things about writing that I didn't know, that I didn't understand at the beginning when I discovered and when I started writing. Consistent practice is what makes you an expert. All writers started somehow. They didn't begin as perfect people. They made mistakes. Yes, there are, in fact, their grammatical, their grammar or the grammar of the writing wasn't really the best, and they didn't um, know much about sentence structure information. They didn't even, in fact, many people didn't even know about punctuation marks and all of those things, but they decided to begin. So the encouragement here today is for you to begin writing, is for you to start writing. Not tomorrow, not next tomorrow, not maybe next year, but actually today. You need to begin, I would say, even now, you need to begin writing now. So we've talked about my journey and we've talked about how I made that discovery, how I became a writer, and how I discovered that this was a part of me and I needed to give it more expression. Um, so, but again, it may also be interesting for us to just consider very quickly again what writing is. If you have been following me since I started this particular episode, I think I mentioned to an extent what writing does, and from there, I think that you can deduce what it means to write, what it means to write. You can tell for sure what writing is. So, simply put, writing is more than just putting words on the page. Yes, that is part of it, but it is much more than that. There are a lot of things that you need to know about writing. There are a lot of things to consider if you want to move from the place you currently are as a writer to a place you think that you want to be or you should be. But in simple terms, writing is the art of conveying thought. It's an art. It's the art of conveying thought, emotions, ideas, and stories in a way that resonates with others, in a way that others can understand, in a way that others can appreciate, in a way that others can be thankful about. That is what writing is. That is what writing is in its simplest term. It is the heart of conveying thoughts, emotions, ideas, and stories in a way that resonates with others. This could mean you having to journal all of your writing a journal, all of your daily activities, and you just want to express to people, oh, this is what happened to me today. I was going out somewhere, I experienced this, I encountered that. You could have that. You could have that. And yes, and then in fact, you could have a diary to write many of those things, and you could also express how something made you feel. You could write for yourself and read, but you could also write for others. But many of the times, writing is so that other people can see you're trying to pass a message across. Yes, we can begin to talk about the different kinds of writing that we have, but today I just want you to focus on the basic idea of writing, writing in its simplest term, writing defined as an art of conveying thoughts, carrying your thoughts, bearing your thoughts, of kind of like expressing your thoughts. You are communicating your thoughts. You are showing people through the things that you're writing that this is what I feel today. This is what I think today. This is what I think about these. This is what I feel about these. This is how, rather, that I feel about this. This is the way I am seeing this particular thing. I'm seeing it in this light and I'm seeing it in that light. You're communicating your ideas. For example, you want to start a business and you once you communicate that idea to people, writing is one way to do that. Maybe not a business. You have an idea of making a change, of starting an orphanage, of doing something. You could communicate that in writing. You could communicate that in writing. Writing does a whole lot of good for people who are able to utilize it, discover, then practice, and then make use of the gift to its fullest. So having explained that, another thing I want you to know is that writing basically is about you sharing your unique perspective and allowing others to connect with your experiences. So check many of the writers out. What have they done? What have they achieved with their writing? They just want people to connect with them. They just want people to relate with many of their experiences. You see authors who have written about themselves. You see um, fiction stories. You see people who have expressed thought and ideas, and the way you're able to connect with them. That wouldn't have been possible. Many of those things wouldn't have been possible if it's weren't for the fact that those people decided to put such writings, such words, for you together for you to see, and that was only possible because they wrote them. For example, I'm a Christian, and I believe strongly that the Bible is the Word of God, and there is no way I would come to know about God. There's no way I will come to know about God the way He wants me to know about Him if I do not read the Bible. And there's no way I could have been able to read the Bible if those things weren't written for me to read. So the Bible is a very good example of things that have been communicated that we may come to see and learn and experience. So that is one thing writing does for you. Writing preserves history. Writing allows things that happened in the past to be communicated so that those who later come to be a part of maybe a particular culture or a particular context, a particular environment will get to know and learn how to behave because those things have been communicated to them through writing. So that is one thing that you need to see, and that is one thing I think that you should also bear in mind. You're sharing your unique experiences with people, and they're connecting with you. So that's the thing for writers. And again, I would say that we all have stories to tell, really. We all have stories to tell. It is not just, so when I say writing, I'm not a writer. Yes, you may not be a writer in a technical sense. You may not be a writer who has a career in writing so called, but then you're a writer. Do you put thoughts on paper? You're a writer. And need I tell you, the writing is, in fact, is not just limited to a pen on your paper these days. There are digital platforms right now where you can convey your thoughts and ideas. There are social media platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, like WhatsApp. Um, if I name it, where you can really, really express yourself, where you can do a lot of things at the moment, where you can um, tell people about how you feel, share a particular thought or idea. So there are many of those things. And as long or so long you have a story, and I believe that you do really have a story. And if you do have a story and you seek to share that story with people, you are a writer. You're writing in that sense. You are communicating, you're showing your experiences. Remember what we said about writing. It is the heart of conveying thought, emotions, ideas, and stories in a way that resonates with others. So, do you convey thought? Do you convey thought, ideas, emotions, and story that resonates with others, or do you intend to? Then you can say that you're a writer. So it's just possible that you have not made that discovery. And I believe that, yes, the only way to achieve that is to actually begin writing. So that's one thing I want to pass across. And remember that there is no limitation, there is no segregation, whether you're whether or not you're a businessman, you're a student, you're a clergyman, whether or not you are a leadership expert, a public speaker. Public speakers write, they put things together. So before they even decide to give a speech, first of all put your thoughts together. So you see all of those things that you really cannot do without writing as a person. You really cannot do without writing. So we may talk about many things, but I think I need us to know what the importance of writing is, what the importance of writing is. And we can see that number one, writing is a tool for communication. Whether you're writing a letter to a person, if I stories have been told of how that if a family member, for example, travels and then he seeks to communicate with his family members, he may decide to write to them. In that way, they are communicating and they decide to write back to him as well. So, writing in that sense is communication. It enables communication, it enhances communication. Um, so whether you are writing a book, you're writing an article, you're writing a blog post, you're giving a speech, or you intend to give a speech, you're writing on social media, giving social media updates, whatever piece of writing you decide to engage in, letter writing, and all of those things, you are actually communicating. You're communicating something. It could be ideas, it could be your thoughts, it could be your emotions, it could be whatever you are communicating to them. And the people who are receiving this stuff that you're communicating to them are able also, by the means provided, to communicate back to you. So that's just one thing that we need to know. Another thing that I need to state as one of the importance of writing is that writing is a means for personal growth. Um, Remember, we said that it allows you, it helps you convey your emotions, your thoughts, your ideas, and but it helps you tell your story. So, in doing that, what it does for you as a person is that it helps you to reflect on your experiences. It also helps you to articulate your thought, to put your thoughts together in a way that is coherent, in a way that makes sense. And it helps you to build clarity around your beliefs. So sometimes what writing does, writing gives clarity to the mind. Writing ensures that what you're communicating to people is clear. They can understand it and they can also relate with it. So it helps you deal with your emotions, you're feeling a particular way, and then you decide to write that. So what writing does for you at that moment, it helps you reflect on all the things that might have happened, and just writing it down may be in fact the cure that you need for whatever feeling that you have. Interesting, isn't it? So that's just the way it is. That's the way it is, and those are some of the importance or the benefit, I would say, of writing. Just two for now. There are many others, really. There are many others, but those are just the it helps you to communicate out of every other thing that writing does. Writing also helps you. It helps you to grow personally. Reason being that it enables you rather to reflect on your experiences. It enables you to articulate your thought, to put your thoughts together in a way that makes sense, and it helps you to build clarity. It gives clarity as you begin to write. Many things begin to unfold themselves, and they begin to become clearer than you could have ever imagined without putting them down. So again, why should you begin writing? If writing is this important, if writing is this essential, if if you have already discovered or maybe in the process of discovering whether or not you can write, remember I said you can, so you just need to begin writing. You need to begin writing. You can actually write. So that process of discovery has to begin right away, has to begin now, has to begin this moment. So why should you begin writing today? Um, Honestly, I would say that you should begin writing. Really, I would say that you should begin writing because it is something everyone can benefit from. Yes, I can benefit from your writing. You can benefit from mine. I can share in your experiences, and you can share with mine because we have decided to communicate that. I can share your emotions. I can see your thought pattern. I can see the reason you believe the things that you believe because you have decided to put them down. If you decide not to write, there is no way people would know. So sometimes telling your story helps people know you more. They are able to connect with you on a more, in fact, on a level that is very, very deep, I would say. So these are some of the reasons I believe that you should begin writing, that you should begin writing today. And the very first reason is that writing helps you grow. I think I've mentioned that already. Writing helps you grow. Writing helps you to think deeply. It clears, it brings clarity, it helps you articulate your thoughts. So as you begin writing or as you continue writing, you discover that many of these things begin to find expression. So you're able to think. Writers are people who think and they think deeply because you want to um, express something that is very important to you. You want to express something that is very dear to you. You're thinking about the best possible way to be able to communicate that. So, writing helps you think, writing helps you articulate your thought, writing helps you grow personally, writing aids your personal development. So, it challenges you to process your thoughts in a way that is clear, in a way that is concise, and in a way that is meaningful. Another thing you may want to know about writing is that writing helps you build discipline. So that is why you should begin writing today. It helps you build discipline. Yes, writing is a craft, and like many other craft, like carpentry or whatever you may want to think of, like hairdressing, for example, or maybe you want tailoring. In fact, they are craft, and you have to learn. And the only way you become better at such things or good at such things is to practice. So you need to practice, and you need discipline in mastering whatever it is that you have decided to give yourself to. And writing is no exception. Need I tell you, friends, that the more you write, the better you get at it. And I've seen it play out in my own journey as a writer. I've seen it work out in my own journey as a writer. And I believe that the same applies to everyone and not just particular, in fact, not just because this is writing. In fact, in every area of life, whatever you find yourself, this is very important. The more you write, the better you get at it. So writing teaches you patience, writing teaches you persistence, and writing teaches you also to be consistent. So in that way, it helps you build the needed discipline to achieve all of these. So what writing, another thing writing does for you and why you should begin writing right now is that it connects you to others. In fact, this cannot even be overemphasized. We can say this over and over again, and we'll still not get tired of speaking about this issue. I still will not get tired of telling you how important this is. You're communicating ideas and thoughts, and the reason you are doing such is because you want people to know what you were trying to say to them. So it connects you to them. They're able to share in your experiences. They're able to share in your emotions. They're able to know how you feel, what you think. They're able to know everything that you can ever think of. So writing helps you connect to others. So when you share your writing, listen to this, when you share your writing, this is what you are doing as a writer. You are giving others a glimpse into your world. You're telling them, come into my space. This is how my world looks like. This is how it feels with me. And I want you to be a part of it. Remember, as a writer, your words can uplift, your words can inform, your words can inspire people in ways you might never expect, even people you've never for once met in person. So that is why writing is important. Your writing travels more than you. Your writing travels faster than you, more than you, has the ability to reach more people than you could have, in fact, than you would have thought about or yes, or considered. So your writing has that particular attribute or those attributes in particular. Your writing can do so much more for you than you can think. Your writing can connect you to friends. Your writing can bring people your way that share similar experiences with you, and you can then build lasting relationships as a result that um, of that particular piece of writing that you've decided to put out. So the final reason why I think that you should begin writing again is that writing leaves a legacy. Writing leaves a legacy. And to be very honest, friends, everything you write, if it's a blog post or a book, books especially, is a record of your thoughts or beliefs and experiences. So, in a sense, you are leaving your mark on people. So, you are leaving a long lasting impression on people. They are able to tell this came as a result of this person. This change was inspired by the writing of this person. This um, particular attitude was inspired by the book that I read, written by this person. You see, what writing is important, very, very important. I must tell you, it is really important. So, these are some of the things. Writing leaves a legacy. It enables you put your mark on people, their minds, everything, so that they're able to remember, they're able to make reference to a point in their life, a time in their life, in their lives rather, when they picked up your book, read your book, and were changed, transformed as a result. So I've talked about you, talked to you rather about several other things today. I've talked to you about my journey as a writer, and now that if you want to begin writing, you have to start now, and that you shouldn't bother about being perfect and getting everything right at first. Practice, consistent practice, is how you achieve that. I've talked to you about the importance of writing, and I said it helps you communicate. Yeah, no, being the first impetus, and also helps you grow personally. So we've considered reasons you should write, reason you should begin writing now. We said that it helps you grow. I've considered the fact that it helps you build discipline. I've also talked about the fact that it helps you connect to others, and then how it helps you leave a legacy as well. I hope that after hearing all of these things, you would begin to write, and that's my goal for this particular episode, and that's my aim for this episode. I hope that you will begin to write. Again, I must make mention of it. You don't postpone the writing to a much later time. Just write something today, whatever it is, whatever you can think of, whatever comes to mind, just put something down, put it on paper, just pen it down and see how how it is that all that has been said, even here today, is nothing but the truth. So you need to begin writing, and I must say, you need to begin writing this. So let me ask you a question, really. What have you been thinking about? I think that that's just one way to begin. What have you been thinking about? What are some of those ideas that have been coming to mind, but you've been either afraid to put them down or never really or I've never really discovered that you could put them down. So I think that this is the moment where you begin to write all of those things and put all of those things down, and see how much of a writer you are. I believe that you're a writer, and I believe that those ideas are just waiting for you to give them expression, are just waiting for you to convey them through this particular thing that we're talking about. And in this case, we mean writing. So it could be a letter to your future self. Just write something. It could be a short story, nothing too long. It could be an essay. It could be a blog post. It could be you just documenting some of the things that happen or that happen in your day. In fact, as you go to work daily, as you go to school daily, maybe just writing something about your friends, maybe just writing something about your family, writing something about your faith as a Christian. You can start that today. So let me say, and let me just give a charge here. Whatever it is, I plead with you, I beseech you, dear writers, write today. Write today. You need to begin writing. If you're ever going to be called a writer, you have to begin writing. If you're ever going to be good at writing, you have to begin writing. If you're ever going to enjoy the satisfaction that comes from expressing your thoughts and letting people communicate to you and inviting them into your world, you need to begin writing today. Remember, if you're the type who is asking, oh, but I'm not perfect, remember, that is not the thing to start with. The key really to becoming a better writer is not perfection, it is progress. And that is something I got um, in the course of yeah, the research I did on writing, it is not perfection. The key to becoming a better writer isn't perfection, it is progress, consistency, showing up, and doing what you love to do. In this case, write. So you have to write as much as you can whenever the opportunity presents itself, and then you see, when you do that consistently, you're able to measure and see, okay, fine, this was where I was before, and this is where I am now. Like I told you, that I wasn't always this way. I didn't start this way. I did not become a better writer overnight or a good writer overnight. I kept at it. I kept practicing. I kept flexing my muscles. I kept doing things really, and that is where I am today. That's the reason I'm where I am today. That's the reason you can even hear this coming from me. That's the reason I say I can also encourage you, because I've walked that path and I know how it is. So the secret to becoming a better writer like you at um this day, it's not for you to seek perfection at first, just for you to make progress. And as you make progress with writing, you will discover how much development that you've come to realize. So, writing really is about you putting one word after the other and allowing yourself to grow, to evolve with every sentence you write. I've learned that in my own journey. I believe that all other persons who have who are writers today, who are writing amazing stuff, or who have been able to communicate such great ideas and thoughts to people, they started this way. So a writer is just one who, despite all the odds, still decide to give himself to that simple task of beginning, of starting, and of writing when the chance presents itself. Right now, the chance is here. Start writing now. So this is my story really, and this is the thing that I want you to see today. And if you're interested, maybe you've come to discover that you're a writer, and then you're interested, you want to improve your writing skills, you want to write in a way that, in fact, that is good. You want to write, or you want to write like a pro, if I would put it that way. Then you can check the link in the description to a WhatsApp community where we share writing tips, and you can also sign up for our writing masterclass, write like a pro masterclass, where you get to learn how to become a better writer. So I hope that you've been able to gain one or two things today. I hope that this particular episode has inspired you. I hope that today you would dare to begin your journey as a writer, and I hope that you would also uh, um, check in this particular podcast from time to time, and then to get access to inspiring thoughts and conversations on writing, leadership, and public speaking. So, in subsequent episodes, I'm going to be sharing with you how I started my public speaking journey, and I started my journey um, as a leader as well. And I hope that as I share the stories with you, and even sometimes as I bring people on board to share with you as well, you will be inspired to take actions. So I remain your host, Amela Steven by name, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So for now, I'll say bye bye.